This is CXO Secrets, the podcast that takes you inside the mind of business leaders and reveals the strategies behind their success. Coming up in today's show...
I do not have the IT background, for example, but I rely on a team of experts who also have the IT background. And I try to mix my team so that, I bring the business side, I have other team members bringing the business, and we are all bringing different things so that we can be a cohesive team and bringing, something good. Yeah, I'm a firm believer that diversity actually brings a lot to the business. So for a business to be successful, you have to be diverse because your client base is diverse and you're dealing with a lot of diverse people. So you need to, to emphasize and to understand more.
The CXO Secrets podcast is powered by EDS, going beyond connections. Find out about upcoming C-level events, experiences and insights at edsxevents.com. Anaïs Beaucousin, Chief Business Security Officer at ADP International. Thank you for joining us on CXO Secrets.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell us, where are you joining us from today and what's been keeping you most occupied at work over the last few days?
So I'm joining you from south of London. I'm based in England. And as you said, I'm the Chief Business Security Officer for ADP. And I cover ADP International. So that's Latin America, EMEA, and Asia Pacific. So this is quite a broad scope. So that keeps me very much busy.
I bet. Just taking a step back for a moment, what does ADP do?
Right. So ADP, we are a provider of services for HR and payroll. So basically, we would do the payroll and provide HR services for from very small companies to very large multinational companies. We are 65,000 employees across the globe. So ADP is an American company, but we are covering more than 140 different countries. And also we pay more than 41 million people across the globe. And that is 1 in 6 employees in the US. I've been with ADP 21 years. I had the opportunity to do a lot of different roles. But what I wanted to share with you is that I think that what has kept me at ADP for such a long time is I really appreciate the value and the culture there, and very much in line with the values. So I've been enjoying all those 21 years so far.
There's some big numbers there, Anaïs. You mentioned 65,000 staff, 140 countries, but 41 million people paid and 1 in 6 employees paid in the US through what ADP does. That's a lot of responsibility that you've got there in a really global role as ADP as a whole. And on your role in particular as Chief Business Security Officer, tell me what that involves and perhaps how it differs from other security roles. We interview lots of CISOs on this show, for example. So what is a CBSO specifically?
So as the CBSO, I'm part of a team of security experts. So we are a global security organization at ADP. And we are about 450 staff in this organization. So I report into our Chief Security Officer, my boss, who is based in the US. And you're right, CBSO is really a role that is fairly new compared to CISO or other security roles. And I think that the difference is that it's the B, business. So it's really about how you fully integrate business components into security and security into the business world, making sure that the two are working together, supporting each other. So as the CBSO, the way that I see my role is really first and foremost to support the growth of ADP, taking into account all the security risk that a company could face.
Yeah.
And that could be from different type of risk or threats, cyber threats, but also natural disaster, geopolitical crisis, and the daily kind of incidents that a company can face, and really protecting as well ADP, the brand ADP, from those risks, and make sure that we protect the brand, but also most importantly, I would say, protect the data
Yeah.
of our clients, because the numbers that I have mentioned before, it is a lot of data.
Yeah.
And it could mean that sometimes ADP is a good target for bad actor or threat actors.
Yes, there is some highly sensitive information there for an awful lot of people that would make the data that you process really highly sought after by bad actors all around the world as well. Talk to me then about the collaboration, because we all know that one of the keys to success in fighting cyber criminals is collaboration, that security doesn't just sit within a security team, but it's about spreading the word, spreading awareness, and ensuring that throughout the organization there's good input and output of risks and exposures and so on. So in your role there as Chief Business Security Officer, who are the key collaborators, and how do you ensure that collaboration, that information sharing across such a large organization that you've described is free-flowing and as fruitful as possible to ensure the utmost security?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing is that we need to ensure that security is not working in silos. So to your point, I do have a lot of people that myself, my team, we interact with, and it is very important. I really see this role as an advisor to a lot of other people, and I would say the more, the better. The more people that you collaborate with, the better. But absolutely, we do have some key people that we are collaborating with. So I would say, on one side, if we're talking about the security side, cyber and physical security. So that's really what is the most coverage about my role. And then on the other side, on the business side, I would say that the people that I collaborate the most, if I limit to three, again, there are quite a lot. I would say the IT teams and the product development teams.
Yeah.
Because we need to ensure that we do security by design. So we embed the security in everything that we build. So that will be in your network, having the right security controls at the different layers of your infrastructure, your network. But also when you build a new product, and ADP, has quite a few products that we offer to our clients, we need to ensure that security is at the basis of how we build our product. So those are really two important stakeholders for us, for me and my team.
Yeah.
And the other part is really the business leaders. So, I mentioned I report into the Chief Security Officer, but also I have a dotted line to the president of ADP International.
Okay.
So I sit on her SLT along with my other peers who are the business leaders of the different regions and countries of ADP International. And those are absolutely critical stakeholders for us as well, so that we can be successful. Again, not working in silos, making sure that those leaders, they are aware of the threats, they are aware of what is coming up. And for us as well to understand what are the priorities for their business to grow. How do we support them? And another example is also how we support the sales, because, I mentioned that one of my key roles is growth. So, growth is also coming from sales. How do we support our sales team, our prospects, our clients, when it comes to all their security questions? Because rightfully so, our clients and prospects wants to make sure that they can trust us, that they can trust ADP. And that's where my team will come into play as well.
Trust really is one of those key words, isn't it? And
It is.
particularly when you are working with such sensitive information as you do there. And well, let's face it, organizations have choice of partners when it comes to payroll and those services. So trust is kind of table stakes, and the more that you're able to demonstrate and live that trust, the better. And I understand the key role you play in that. Just something you mentioned there, though, was something that really interests me with regards to the security-related roles. It's physical security as well, because it's very easy for us to get hung up on digital security and information security very much in the digital realm, but very often physical security has utmost importance as well, and physical security can be one of the ways in which, or lapses in physical security can be one of the ways in which bad actors get access to digital assets as well. So I'm curious as to how much of a part the physical security elements play in your role.
You're absolutely right. So we're always talking about the amount of data that we have, but actually physical security, I can see at ADP, is of the utmost importance as well, because physical security, that would be, so for example, covering the natural disaster. When you are across 140 different countries, you are in some areas where, there will be major hurricanes, storms, flooding, and so on. And who does the work? It's the people. So that's why physical security is so important, is because you want to protect your people as well. You want to make sure that everybody is safe and can perform their job. I've seen some really difficult situations where our associates have been. I remember, probably the latest one was in Porto Alegre in Brazil, and where our security team at ADP has done everything that they could to even help personally the family of our associates to make sure that they are safe, they are protected. And at the end of the day, it's about continuing to do your job and continuing to serve our clients. That's what that is.
It's a very broad statement to make, I'm aware, but the world is certainly changing, and whether it is elements of civil unrest that we've certainly seen even in the UK as well as much wider around the world, or the challenges that a changing environment, a changing climate is bringing to us and our buildings, and therefore the workforce that we have a responsibility to, as well as our customers' data. This is very much changing this element of the role, which is why I'm really, really interested in it. So thank you for sharing, and thank you for highlighting that physical element for us. What's been your career journey, Anaïs, to where you are now? You said you've been with ADP International for a very long time. Where has that taken you on route here?
Yeah, in 21 years, I actually started at ADP in France. I was already in a multinational team, and I was in sales and marketing. So I was really here to support the sales team. Started to work on CRM, for the sales team. So I worked there for a few years, and I was really lucky enough to have the opportunity to work in our headquarters in Roseland, in New Jersey. So I also worked there for 6 years, and I work in corporate IT. And I would say this is really where I learned a lot about ADP, of course, about the business of ADP, but also learning about IT, because I don't come from an IT background. I have a business school background. Being there really, I learned about all the IT world and development and sales automation. That's what I was working on. And then a few years ago, it's actually quite probably over 10 years ago, I had the opportunity to change from sales automation into service automation. And I moved to the UK, so I've been based in England for the past 10 years, and working in service automation, digital automation. for all of ADP International. So ADP International is, I would say, an area that I know pretty well, that I've been working on, and I really enjoy, because it's a lot of variety. You work in a lot of different culture and countries, and yes, you learn a lot. I think that what's really is beneficial for my role today is, we've been talking before about the risk and the physical risk and everything. So it's a lot about knowing the business to help as well and support to build the right business continuity plans.
Yeah.
And that's an area that is very critical for ADP. BCPs, like, in short, but business continuity planning and resiliency for ourselves and for our third-party vendors that we work with. It's really critical.
I agree. And that's very much my professional background as well, going back over the last, 25 years or so now, and certainly from 9/11 onwards, understanding the different risks, whether it's physical security or whether it's increasingly digital cybersecurity risks, but putting together mitigation plans such that different services have the requisite level of business continuity, of data protection and so on, as well as all of the regulatory stuff. I find it a fascinating area, and it's good to hear that you do too. I'm interested in one thing that you mentioned there, though, was that your background, it's not a technical background. You come from a business school background. So tell me if you found that to be an advantage. Some would say that working in a technical area like you do, that not having the technical background could put you at a disadvantage. But what would your response to that be?
Very important question. So to me, I see it as an advantage, and you can make it what you want. To me, I make it as an advantage. So first, I've been working in an IT and technical environment for the past almost 20 years, or 18 years. So that has helped me, and I do believe that actually you learn a lot by doing and by having the experience. Where the advantage is that it gives me the outlook on the business, and when I'm not only talking or taking the side of IT, I would say, and I'm always putting it to the business sides. So again, I think that's where it helps is bridging the two, making sure that we don't have silos, and again supporting the growth of our business unit. So I would say that yes, this is an advantage.
While there are a growing number of women working in IT and IT leadership roles, there's certainly nothing like equilibrium, is there, Anaïs? And I'm curious as to what initiatives you've been involved in, both in ADP International and perhaps beyond as well, to try and nurture more diversity and inclusion across your organization.
Right. So, well, first, I'm a firm believer that diversity actually brings a lot to the business. So, for a business to be successful, you have to be diverse, because your client base is diverse, and you're dealing with a lot of diverse people. So you need to, I would say, to emphasize and to understand more. So I was part of the women's group, but of course at ADP you have quite a lot of other type of diversity, be it generational or LGBTQ plus, disability and so on. So for the group that I was part of, the goal was making sure that we give women, I would say, the strengths and the self-confidence that they can achieve the career that they want, whatever that is, because everybody has their own definition of what they want, how far they want to go. So giving them the tools, giving them access to mentorship, sponsors, for them to be successful in their career.
And that echoes something that we've heard a number of times, and you mentioned it a moment ago as well, about leading in a technical role despite not having a technical background, yet you saw that as a superpower. And we've spoken previously on the show with people who have neurodiversity, who see that not as a disability, but as a superpower in its own right as well. So when you are trying to nurture more diversity in an organization, empowering individuals to believe that no matter what background you come from, no matter what skills you have, there is absolutely a place for those, and you absolutely can use those as a tool to further your career, to move in the direction that you wish to work in. It's a very exciting area to be involved in, and I wish all the very best with those continued initiatives there and elsewhere. Finally, we have some questions that we ask to all of our guests here on CXO Secrets. The clue's in the name. What's your secret, Anaïs? Putting your modesty aside to one moment, if you can, what would you say is, or maybe what other people would say is a key feature, a key attribute, a key strength that has helped you to be the leader that you are there today?
So what I would say, and I've heard also other people say, is that I'm very self-driven and determined, and also well organized. So I would say that would be my key attributes. I think I really grew up as a very self-reliant and kind of a type A personality. so
Mm-hmm.
so it's very useful in the corporate world where I am, because it has allowed me to really focus about what I wanted to achieve, and also managing to get a lot done. But I would say what I have learned is really opening up my heart a bit more. So maybe not always be very I would say very focused on deadlines and so on. So opening up my heart a little bit more. And I think that when you're a leader, it is very important. And maybe if I can share a story, because I learned it, again, along my journey. But if I have to put the haha moment when I kind of realized it, it was quite a few years ago. So I was leading a team, and a very successful team, and I had this lady in my team. She was very dedicated, very involved, very engaged in our team, and we were doing a lot of great things. And then at some point, I noticed that she was changing, or she had a slightly different behavior. And I remember my first reaction was that I was a bit upset, we're not going to meet the deadlines, we're not going to. And but what I did, I actually decided to create like a space to have an open heart conversation with her. And what she shared with me was very personal. So that's why she didn't feel probably safe enough, or she didn't want to share that with me, because it was, very hard and very personal what she was going through. And she had decided to hide it so far. But because we created this space, this safe space, then she really shared with me what was going on. And at the end, we created a different way of working, or, just arranging the way that we were working, so that she could deal with this personal challenge and still continue to be the very highly successful person that she was. And yeah, she's been so far. And yeah, if I have one big learning, is that yes, deadlines, and yes, meeting your work commitment is very important, but also creating this safe space for your team is absolutely important. And I think that's based on what you asked also earlier, if I may add. So I do not have the IT background, for example, but I rely on a team of experts who also have the IT background, and I try to mix my team so that I bring the business side, I have other team members bringing the business, and we're all bringing different things so that we can be a cohesive team and bringing something good for ADP.
Teamwork makes the dream work, Anaïs, and it's really, really good to hear that, because yes, that personal sense of drive that helps you to progress your career and achieve your goals is one thing. You beat me to it, because I was going to ask if there are any downsides to that element, to that trait. And it's great that you also have that empathy as well to create that environment, that culture of psychological safety, and to enable those safe spaces such that when one of your team, and as a leader, you are leading people, if the people feel as though they need to engage with you to share something and that you're able to support them in their journeys as well, then that seems to me like that happy balance. And yes, teamwork makes the dream work despite everyone having that drive. Really, really good to hear. Thank you so much for sharing those stories as well, Anaïs. We do a pass the question here on CXO Secrets, where each guest has an opportunity to ask a question to the next guest on the show, whoever that may be. And I have a question here for you from our last guest, and that was from Itai Livne, who was, still is, I hope, CISO at Sixt, and he asked this question.
I would like to ask, who do they look for inspiration and for mentorship?
Well, I love this question, and I think this is very important, because I look for inspiration in my work, in my life in general. So I would say inspiration. My inspiration are my children, my two boys, and I really look to be a good role model for them. And we were talking earlier about women and career, and what I really want to show them is that you can be a loving and caring mom and still have a career, and and continuing as far as you want in your career. So to me, this is a very important point. I think I grew up in an environment where women were supposed to be the primary carer and the only carer of the children. Moms were not supposed to have a career, and were not supposed to, earn more money than their partner. And I just want to show them that I want to actually show them that we can break those biases by the way that I conduct my life and my career.
I'm a parent too. I have two girls, and boy, have I learnt an awful lot from them. It's easy to think, it's the other way around. As a parent, you are leading, you are sharing, you are helping them to learn. But actually, the shoe fits on both feet in that case. And I really, really hope that this next generation, our children, do not have that experience that perhaps we'd grown up with those perceptions, those preconceptions of, it's one gender that stays home, it's one gender that does the cooking and the washing up and is primarily in charge of caring, that there is a choice for them. I hope that they grow up without that being part of their lived experience, so that it is a much more equal future for us all. Thank you for sharing that. And finally, if you were to pose a question to our next guest, whoever they may be, whatever CXO role they may have, what question would that be, Anaïs?
Yeah, so I was thinking about a couple of questions. So the one that I'm really interested in for your next guest is, what's your biggest challenges as a CXO, and how do you deal with it? What are your tips for being successful with it?
Great question. I look forward to asking that and to hearing the answer as well. We'll leave it there for now, though. Anaïs Beaucousin, Chief Business Security Officer from ADP International, thank you for joining us on CXO Secrets.
Thank you for having me.